Welcome to another creative writing meetup, writing workshop. We have a good one for you today. My name is Laurel, and we meet every week at Altspace VR, and we'd love to have you come join us. We are a creative and supportive environment for writers, and we use virtual reality to meet and connect. And we'd love to have you join us. You can join our Discord channel at discord.me, writing VR, or you can come on in to Altspace VR. You can enter in 2D, which means on desktop or a laptop, or you can come in on an Oculus Quest or a Go or a Rift or a Vive or a Valve or all the other VR equipment that is out there. Check the altvr.com website for all of the different devices that are supported, and we'd love to have you join us in the virtual world to do some writing. Today's topic is on negative versus positive. We were starting out the new year trying to talk about how do we turn a negative statement into a positive statement. Oh, we had fun with this. So this is just a quick summary and review. Now, when you're writing character development, really explore, is your character have a negative personality? Or do they have a positive attitude? Are they the curmudgeon? Is everything? Do they find something wrong with everything? Or are they the light-hearted, sunny person that just finds that the glass half full is still a good glass and a good full? So, they have all different kinds. So think about your character and how they communicate and connect to the world. Yes, they're going to go up and down with all their moods, but their core, many characters have come from a core suspicious and negative perspective, where others come from a hopeful and really, really want there to be flowers and angels and all the good things that are in life. And then it is part of our job as the writer to smash down that or to challenge that belief. And so that's part of the creativity and the choices we have when we're developing characters. Now, how do you let the reader know that your character is either a negative or a positive personality? It's you have to show them. Sometimes you have to tell them, and we're going to work on some of that. And now what we're mostly going to work on is exploring how to change a phrase from a negative to a positive, because that's a really good way to check our stereotypes and to check our judgments and really see, is what we're saying, could it be perceived as negative or positive, and how do we flip that? But I also want you to stop and think about how your own perspective on life, because we are also negative and positive and in between and a little of all, and we get in negative moods and we get in hopeful moods, and our attitude, our emotional state can seep into our writing. So pay attention to your writing to see if your perspective is influencing the characters and the stories and everything else going on. Just keep that in the back of your head as we go forward. Now, negative rhetoric is fascinating. We did a bunch of research on this, and we found that in general, negative rhetoric, negative statements, negative thinking, whatnot, and causes more problems than solutions. If you could be more positive about a situation, then there's hope for change. Then there's hope for something, action to happen. But negative can cause more complications, which is fun to write for, because one negative phrase can start off your entire whole plot. Who knows? Or a character's reaction to something being negative can start an entire plot or really define your character. So think about how the negative can cause more problems. And we love conflict when it comes to writing. Others who hear negative rhetoric feel blamed, they feel pressured, and they feel victimized. Now that's interesting. So think about the negative comments and attitudes of your characters and how it influences the others in your story. Negative perspectives and rhetoric also lacks motivation, and it also influences your ability to trust. And those are really important, because when somebody hits something with a negative, often a negative plus a negative equals negative. Nobody wants to do anything, wants to go anywhere, do anything unless there is someone else there to challenge that. So a negative and a positive equals a positive. Basic math. So think about, I don't mean positive is a good thing, just mean energy. But it also influences trust. Do you really trust people who are always negative? Well, if you can count on them to be always negative, that's one issue. But think about how a negative, when someone says something negative, how does that make other people feel? But also, Do you trust them? Or are they way too positive? Then also do you, so think about how trust comes into play. Just giving you things to rattle in your head as you're working on all your stories and character development. Now, positive rhetoric reinforces good practices and behavior. So when you say something positive, people usually carry that with them into the future, going, okay, this will modify behavior and attitudes and practices. Or you say something negative, they tend to spin in, and it just doesn't seem to do much good. Now, neuroscience has found that positive rhetoric strengthens brain areas. If you're dealing with stroke victims or people with any form of traumatic brain injury and whatnot, that having really positive people, positive statements, and being told that they're doing good and get that positive reinforcement, it actually strengthens parts of the brain. Now, I don't know how that applies to your writing, but it's something to think about when you're looking at all the different stories out there, the plots, the characters, and everything. I thought that was fascinating discovery. Most of all, positive rhetoric makes a listener feel heard. And they feel supportive and a part of a team. They feel a part of something. And I think that's really important when you're creating characters that work in tandem, that work as they're collaborating on a project. Or you're working with relationships, and you can define a relationship really easily through communication and by showing whether or not one character is being heard and another isn't. And that can be some great fodder to play around with. So again, all just input. Now, clear communication is one of the issues that deals with negatives, and multiple negatives complicates and leads to misunderstanding. So think about how you say things and they lead to some serious misunderstandings. For example, that won't do you no good. Well, is that saying it will do me good because it cancels it out? Or is it really saying that won't do me good even though it has a double negative? So it's confusing. It's confusing. He has never told any lies. Has he lied and I'm now learning about it for the first time? Or really, has he never told lies? He's a truthful person or honest person, and now I'm confused. I love that. And this is one of my favorites. This is not to say that what you said doesn't matter. What is that saying? It says what you said doesn't matter. So it's totally dismissive of somebody and what they said, and it says you don't mean anything. You've lost complete value. So I love that statement. It's just you can use that with the right place. That can be really beautifully applied in your story. If he had not given us the wrong address, we would have been on time. Oh, doesn't that just tell you so much about a character? First of all, it's got this double negative going on here because we're confused. If we had the right address, we would have been on time. But that's not how it's said. And what it says is, it's someone else's fault. We've been on time, but it's their fault. That's a great character hint. Really tells us about a character. So watch out for multiple negatives. They can tell us a lot about the character, but they can also confuse the other characters, or they can confuse the reader. So use these judiciously. Something to just pay attention to. And negative phrases often are used as a state of being. So I'm exhausted. What is that really saying? It says I'm tired or worn out. I didn't get much sleep. There's just too much going on and I can't keep up. There's a whole emotional state there with that negative phrase. I'm exhausted. I'm frustrated. Same thing. Too much going on. I'm confused. There's things getting in the way. I don't like this. I don't know what to do about this. That's an emotional state. I hate this. Great statement. I hate this. Boy, what kind of negative state of being does that relate to? It's anger, it's aggression, it's control, it's manipulation. I hate this, so we're going to stop it now. So there's great stuff underneath that. But another favorite is, I missed you so much. Now that can be said in many, many ways, but in the right context, what does that represent as a state of being? What does that tell us about the character? And in our session, many of us agreed that meant passive aggressive. I missed you so much. Never leave me and don't leave me. And it was mean of you to leave me and stay away from me. And I can't function without you. It's a lot of passive aggressive. So we had fun with that one. Think about these things as what they really mean. Go deeper and make sure that when your character uses them, that's helping tell part of the story and part of their attitude. Love that. They're also instructive or commanding, like I'm exhausted, is saying, I'm stopping everything now because I don't have the energy to keep going. Very commanding, very controlling, very manipulating. Don't throw the ball in the house. What would be a better way of saying that? Take the ball outside. Or explaining, you may break something in the house, so take the ball outside. So that's a way to flip it around, but that's very commanding. Don't throw the ball in the house. Like it gives you no leeway for discussion. Very confining. Eat your carrots. Same thing. No explanation, no justification, just an order. And it's said, it can be said in a very negative tone or not, but again, there's no room for any understanding and any compassion. And what has been found through neuroscience research and psychology research is if you demonstrate that eating healthy food, because that's what you're really saying is you need to eat healthy to stay healthy. Your body is that temple. You need to take care of it. That's really the lesson. But eat your carrots isn't a lesson. It's just this, it's supposed to be, but it doesn't come off that way. Comes out this negative energy. And so a child grows up never wanting to eat carrots because they have this association. Turn out the lights. Yes, I forgot a quote mark on it. Turn out the lights. Now, that's instructive. It's also commanding. But again, it just cuts us off because we don't have any chance for discussion. So it really can be very, very forceful. And so that was fascinating work. And I love, again, we're hitting passive aggressive going, it's not that easy. Now, what is that really saying? It's saying, oh, you think this is easy, but you do it all the time. It's finding an excuse, blaming others. Or it's just not that easy because I don't know how to do it and therefore I'm a bad person and I'm not good enough. A lot of ways that can be taken in a negative way. So look for those opportunities to play around with those things. Now, negative phrases often mean no. Now, the issue here is, do you say no and let that be it? Or do you explain? Or, how is this being used when a character is speaking? Think about these as it has, maybe replace them with no, or maybe this is how the character needs to speak because they need to have a little bit of instruction. But look always for a deeper backstory going on. That's enough for now. What does that really mean? It means somebody stepped over a border. They've pushed a boundary there, and then they're going to get pushed back. Don't touch that. Ooh, what is that really saying? Because it's dangerous? Because it's offensive? Because it's, you're too close? Whatever that is. And I love, again, passive aggressive. Didn't I tell you? Boy, that just beats up another character in your story. Didn't I tell you? For the 18th time, didn't I tell you? So again, use carefully. That's wonderful. It tells us about the character. If it's not what you intend the character to say, and I've actually written this out and realized that it was me saying it, not the character saying it. So I edit. And I love the phrase, I don't have time. Oh, that's a great one to mess with because there's this silent thing. I don't have time for you. I don't have time for this nonsense. I don't have time in my life. There's a lot of stuff. And basically, that's an answer to, do you want to meet? Do you want to get together? How about we work on this project? What about, can we try this? And so I don't have time. And so it's the underlying agenda that is the magic secret sauce in your story about why they don't have this time and what are they really saying when they say this nice, polite, well, I don't have time. What are they really saying? So you can have some fun with that. Now, character development, again, I want you to think about whether your character is negative, positive, and how you let the reader know, and explore how flip that phrase from negative to positive, which is what we're going to be working on next, and ask yourself, is your perspective really influencing your character? So be careful with that, so that you kind of step away from your character or you dive in deeper, whichever works for you, but just be aware of. We have a ton of events that are coming up with our creative writing meetup in Altspace that I just wanted to give you a heads up with. Poetry Slam is a new event that started recently in Altspace VR, where you can come and read your poetry, your songs, or your, it's not so much singing, but it's mostly poetry. Some, if you want to do a rap, a short story, it's not really for singing, but it is for reading. So if you want to read something that you've written, an original piece, Poetry Slam meets every other week on Mondays in Altspace VR. And Yoko, the producer and host of that event, is going to be working with our creative writing group to bring in some poetry lessons and tutorials for our workshops. Get excited about that. So that'll be coming up pretty soon. We'll be making some announcements. And also Yoonji of Yoonjiverse, who is an amazing long-time entertainer in virtual reality. She had quite the following in Second Life and now is in Altspace and other platforms. She performs regularly in Altspace VR, and she's going to be coming in and teaching us some songwriting techniques. So stay tuned for that. And we have a bunch of things planned for this year that are going to be so exciting in Altspace VR for writers and for readers and fans of writing. So we're going to be having a regular reading event that's going to be popping up probably every couple months. And we're going to be inviting people to share original writing. You have 5 minutes max to share a few poems or a short story or whatever it is that you'd like to do. And we'll be announcing that soon on our Discord channel and also in the Altspace VR calendar. So keep an eye out for our reading events. We've had one and it was really successful. We're also going to be bringing back our Snowflake novel writing workshop that teaches you that Snowflake writing method that we have some of the people in our writing group are quite expert at, and they're going to be sharing your techniques and their the whole way how this works. It's a great way if you're really new to writing to get into the flow and the rhythm and expand your idea from just a simple idea into a complex story. So it's a great method. We'll also be doing some Scrivener workshops and classes to teach you more about how to use this really powerful writing software program. The newest update should be out any moment for Windows. It's already out for Mac, and we're eager to explore how this works and to help you write better and faster. So come join us every Tuesday in Altspace. You can find out more information at altvr.com. Or you can check out our Discord group at discord.me/writingvr. My name is Laurel, and I would love to have you come join us. Thanks.